Yo, what's up guys? Bren here, and in this video I'm going to be covering a topic which I feel is often overlooked. I'll actually be discussing the three most popular starting item builds for the mid lane. I'll be talking about which scenarios to buy each item build, and the reasoning behind it. Alright, so first of all, I'll start with the most popular item build, which is just your main attribute, small item, such as a Null Talisman, or a Wraith Band, and then two branches, and pull tangos. You then either spend your first 125 gold on bringing out tangos if you want, or you just go straight for bottle. So this will be the build that you want to go for if you feel that your hero either wins a matchup naturally or that you can vastly outskill your opponent. And on top of those two things, you don't want to be getting this item build if you expect to be getting roamed on by an enemy support. Like guys, if you die to a roamer early in the mid lane, and the enemy mid gets the first blood, you're completely fucked for the rest of the laning stage, since your bottle is so delayed, since you took the risk of going for this build, which spends the majority of your starting gold, just to get an advantage, and then you died, so the entire lane will just be completely lost if you go for this build and you die. Now, when do you actually want to go for this build? Well, it's a really good item build in the Lina or Leshrac vs Storm matchup, for example, since you already have longer range auto attacks, and you have better spells to harass, meaning that the additional attack damage plus mana that this build gives will allow you to crush the enemy even harder, and you'll be more consistent with last hitting. It's also a good build if you know that you'll have a support roaming for you extremely early in the game, such as a Bounty Hunter, for example, which means that you'll be able to dominate the CS, since the enemy mid laner will obviously, he'll have to play back, meaning that you can get uncontested CS basically, and you'll still be able to get the quick bottle out even with this stats build. Meaning that once your roaming support just leaves the lane, you'll be able to completely dominate the 1v1. So this is just a build you want to go for if you are in a good matchup, or you think you can outskill your opponent, or if you have a roamer on your team. You can just basically capitalize on those things with this build. Now, another really popular build currently is going to be this build right here. It's the Circlet plus 2 branch build, and then you want to have pool tangos. And this is actually by far my favorite build currently, since it's sort of in between the Null or Wraith Band start and the 2 branch build, that I'll be talking about in a little bit. But so this is the build to go for if you're in the losing side of a matchup, for example. Let's just say you're Storm and you're laning versus Lesh. This will give you a bit more HP and damage and mana than the 2 branch build. And when I'm talking about the 2 branch build, I just mean that, like, literally you only start with 2 branches, which I will be talking about in a little bit. But basically, if you get the bounty rune and just some CS early with this build, you can actually get your bottle out before the 2-minute rune, meaning you can use your spells, for example, Static Remnant in Storm's case, for the majority of your laning stage to get your early creeps. You get your bottle out, and then you go for your bounty rune. So this is a super strong, it's a reliable build. It can even be built if you're the hero that has the advantage, since if you get the bottle out sooner, you can just focus on being even more aggressive with your regen. Another variation of this build is actually to buy 1 salve and tangos, and with this build on top of a salve and tangos, you're looking to be super aggressive in lane, and you either want to get a kill or you want to basically just zone them out completely. So with this build, I would go tangos and a salve if I was playing like Queen of Pain, for example, because that hero can be extremely aggressive in lane, and then you get the additional stats, and yeah, it's pretty good. And now the last build I want to talk about is just the very simple 2 out of 3 branch build, and then you get pooled tangos. And this is a build if you feel like you're really going to have a hard time in the mid lane for whatever reason. Perhaps it's a hard matchup, or they have roamers. It lets you get your bottle out super fast with the bounty rune, but The disadvantage is just that your auto attack damage is bad, so you can't really trade versus enemy, and it's hard to play like a last hit slash deny war game versus your opponent. So like realistically, if you go this build, you're really just looking to farm. Yeah, you're basically just looking to farm really well, but at the cost of like your enemy farming really well. But if you're disadvantaged in the matchup to start, it's a really solid build. It's really safe. It's reliable. But I think going for the circlet on top of this currently is a little bit better, especially since if you go for the circlet plus 2 branch build, since the change, you can get out your quick wand after your bottle, so that's really good. So that's all I want to talk about in this video. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.